military budget, but then how are we supposed to become, how are we supposed to pay for all the things that he wanted, the energy saving and the renewable energy things? If he doesn't want to cut budget, then we're not going to have enough money for it in the end of the game.
Okay, very good. Any answer to that? Any response to that? What she basically said was, shh. We have $1 trillion plus debt every year we add to our national debt. Romney wants to go ahead and add another $1 trillion of spending to the military. How are you supposed to do that and also cut all the things that you want to cut if you want to add $1 trillion extra? How are you going to cut the debt? How are you going to cut the fact that you need to borrow? So that's the response that the Obama team had to that point that the Romney team said about cutting things and making sure that things actually balance the budget. Next question. On the outsourcing issue. Do you have an answer? Okay, 10 seconds. Go ahead. Okay. Okay, now, quiet please. All right, the next issue is quickly the next issue that we have. And you will have one more turn for rebuttal. Each of you has one turn for rebuttal. There are going to be another four more questions. All right. So the question is, the outsourcing of American jobs overseas is taking a toll on our economy. What plans do you have to put back and keep jobs here in the United States? How are you going to bring back jobs to the United States? That's the question. So the Romney team goes first with that one. How are you going to keep jobs in America? What's that? Okay. Go ahead.
Jobs back to the United States by making it better for small businesses instead of like making when you're manufacturing everybody goes to China and stuff. But to bring businesses back here, you want to make it better for them so then they have more money and then they could invest and like.
Yes. Okay. Next question goes. The next question has to do with. Let's quiet it down, please. Next question has to do with health care. How does, okay, the question for the Obama team is, how does Obamacare benefit the United States? How do you plan on funding it? Again, how does Obamacare, as it's come to be known, right? How does Obamacare benefit the United States, and how do you plan on funding it? It's your question.
Obamacare is going to help the average Americans, like all of us, from letting insurance companies take advantage of you. In the past, insurance companies, they would make the rates higher for women, and why is that fair? Because shouldn't we have equal amounts of opportunity and chances to gain more health care benefits? Secondly, it's going to Obamacare is going to hold insurance companies accountable and they're not going to be able to put an end to dropping patients and finding reasons to drop patients. And we're going to pay for Obamacare in a few weeks. It's going to cost around $940 billion over the next 10 years, but it's really not. In the end result, it's going to reduce our debt. We're going to do this by budgeting cuts, taxes, and government funding, and also by putting a 2.9 tax on businesses and families. Also, they will cut $716 billion from Medicare and invest it back into Medicaid. And lastly, they will tweak the funding from programs that aren't working and put it towards Medicaid.
Very good. Okay, now the answer now for the question now for the Romney team is as follows. Romney, as you know, many Americans are without health care. What do you plan on doing to help those people? If Romney rejects Obamacare, he still has to deal with an issue that millions of Americans do not have health care. So what do you do about it? Do you just leave the issue alone and just reject somebody else's plan? Or do you have a plan yourself to take care of that problem? Okay?
So there are three main problems with healthcare. There are cost, quality, and coverage. And Obamacare hasn't really solved these problems. My healthcare plan to solve these problems consists of 5 steps. Step 1 is to give the states responsibility, flexibility, and resources to care for citizens who are poor, uninsured, and chronically ill. We can empower states to expand healthcare access for low-income Americans. We can do this by block granting funds for Medicaid and the uninsured. Step 2 is to change the tax code to promote the individual ownership of health insurance. The tax code offers open-ended subsidies for the purchase of insurance through employers. I propose to give individuals a choice between a current system and a tax deductions to buy insurance on their own. This simple change creates the best of both worlds. Absolutely nothing will change for those who like their current coverage, and individuals who don't get coverage through their employers will have portable, lower-cost options. Step 3 is to focus on federal regulation of healthcare on making markets work. This means both correcting common failures in insurance markets, as well as eliminating counterproductive federal laws. For example, individuals who are constantly covered for a specific period of time may not be denied access to insurance because of pre-existing conditions. And individuals should be allowed to purchase insurance across the state lines, free from costly state benefit requirements.
Okay? So Romney basically saying that there's an issue of competition. If you increase competition, then it brings down health care. And if you bring down also the cost of litigation, meaning people suing doctors, and doctors don't have to perform so many tests in order to make sure that they won't get sued later. Quick 20-second rebuttal.
Governor Romney supports the voucher system. In the voucher system, people who want health insurance would have to go to private businesses for insurance. And if private businesses have control of health insurance, then they'll be able to take advantage of people who need health insurance. President Obama, my plan will not take advantage of people in need, people who can't afford health insurance, people who the voucher system just would not be viable for them. They need a plan that will be fair and equal for all their health insurance needs.
Essentially what's being said is this: when you leave something so important as healthcare, to businesses and to people that are in it for profit, what happens is many people will get stuck. Many people will get the bad end of the bargain, and that's why it has to go, according to Obama, into the government's hands in terms of the government guaranteeing certain things. All right, next topic: foreign policy on Iran. This is for the Obama team. Iran. How do you plan on stopping Iran from reaching nuclear weapons capability? Is military action an option?
So, you can see that I tried very hard to stop Iran from achieving nuclear capability. I have gone countries such as Russia and China to see eye to eye with me on the matter of stopping Iran from achieving nuclear capabilities. Alright. So additionally, I worked with Congress to pass the Comprehensive Iran Stop Sanction, Accountability, and Divestment Act, which strengthened existing U.S. sanctions and has made it harder for the Iranian government to buy refined petroleum and other goods it needs to modernize its oil and gas sector. My sanctions are working. Because of my sanctions, Iran's currency has lost over half of its value in the past year. Even President Ahmadinejad has been forced to admit that the serious impact that my sanctions had on the Iranian economy. Military actions are an answer, but it should always be the last answer. We shouldn't just jump into war with Muslim nations because they are threatening us. We should be the more responsible person and take care of it without war.
Diplomacy. Okay, very good. Next question now goes to the Romney team, and it has to do with Israel. The question is, recently our relationship with Israel is at its lowest point that it has been in years. How do you plan on improving that relationship with our ally in the Middle East?
Good afternoon, everybody.
Morning.
Good morning, everybody. I've been working all night on what I want to get done as president.
Go ahead.
Enough time.
You've got less than 2 minutes now.
More than enough time. To ensure Israel's security, I will work closely with Israel to maintain its strategic military edge. The United States will work intensively with Turkey and Egypt to shore up on the fraying relationships with Israel that have underpinned peace in the Middle East for decades. The United States must forcefully resist the emergence of anti-Israel policies in Turkey and Egypt, and work to make it clear that their interests are not served by isolating Israel. Now, with regard to the Israel-Palestine conflict, my policy will differ sharply from President Obama's. As president, I will recommit America to the goal of a democratic, prosperous Palestine state living side by side in peace and security of the Jewish state of Israel. I will reject any measure that would frustrate direct negotiations between Israel and the Palestinians. I will make it clear to the Palestinians that any unilateral attempt to decide issues that are designated for final negotiations by the Oslo Accords is unacceptable. The United States will reduce assistance to the Palestinians if they continue to pursue the United Nations recognition or form a unity. Now, government that includes you have a unity government that includes Hamas, a terrorist group dedicated to Israel's destruction. The United States needs a president who will not be a fair-weather friend of Israel. The United States must work as a country to resist the worldwide campaign to delegitimize Israel. We must fight against the campaign in every forum and label it the anti-Semitic poison that it is. Israel's existence as a Jewish state is not up for debate. Now, President Obama and French President Sarkozy complain about Israel Prime Minister Netanyahu. Now, I can't look at him anymore. He's a liar, says Sarkozy. Obama's reply, you've had enough of him, but I have to deal with him every day.
The response is, quiet please. Let's quiet down. We have one more question after this. Let's quiet it down, please. Quiet. Go ahead.
First of all, I disagree with that assessment of the Israel-United States relationship. I don't believe it's at its lowest point. Over the last 4 years, the U.S. has been very supportive of Israel. At this present moment, we are sharing classified information with the Mossad. In the United Nations, the United States has supported Israel against Palestinian statehood, and it is very important to realize that Romney supports Israel. He doesn't even mention solutions to the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, which is in the interest of both the United States and Israel to solve. How could you say they're delegitimizing Israel if they're not even acknowledging the issues, the real problem? The problem is there needs to be a two-state solution. There's no other viable solution. Israel, at the present moment, has control of the West Bank, which has a significant Palestinian population. Unless they're willing to integrate legislation which will undermine the Jewish state, they need to somehow make another state compromise. It's the only way.
Very good. Okay, one last. All right, now let's try to stay on schedule, everybody. Quiet, please. One last question. One last question. 1 second. No rebuttal time for that. One last question, and you have a one-minute response to it. A 1-minute response, and it has to do with education. Now the question is, as we know, the rates of college tuition have gone up. How do you plan to keep rates affordable so more people can go to college? Okay? College tuition goes up way faster than the rate of inflation. Rate of inflation is 3-4%. College tuition goes up between a rate of 12 to 15% a year. How do we keep control of that without people going into debt, into the tens of thousands, of some people hundreds of thousands of dollars? You've got 1 minute to answer that. 1 minute each turn, each side. So who's going to do it? Go ahead.
So, Mr. Naftali, as you know, a quarter of our students drop out of high school and go into the cell phone business or the Why do they drop out? Because they realize that they're not going anywhere in life, because they're not doing so well in school. They're not getting the education they need. And Mr. Barack Obama, I visited a lot of companies. I visited a lot of factories, and I realized that they're getting more technology, more machinery that require knowledge, that require more knowledge. So, as I see that students drop out of high school, because some students also drop out of high school because they realize that their parents can't afford the tuition to send them to college. So my plan is that I am going to rely on the government to fund the parents, the middle class parents who work so hard to support their families, to pay the college tuition for their students.
Very good. Okay. And who's got the answer? Go ahead. Quiet, please. 1 minute.
So Obama says that he's gonna he has a plan with education to help all the people, but he always says things and he's most likely not gonna do it. And when I was governor of Massachusetts, I made a merit program to aid the top performers in Massachusetts, to give them scholarships so they can go to an in-state college. And also, if I'm president, I'll try to lower college tuition so that a lot of people can go to college. Because as right now, America, we're not the smartest country. Most of our kids don't go to college. So if I'm president, I'm going to try that.
Okay, very good. All right, now, so we've got, okay, let's quiet it down. What I'd like to do is I'd like to give one of you the chance in 30 seconds to come up and to basically make his case why you should be the president. You got 30 seconds, so choose right now. How many you want to try? Yeah. Okay, go ahead. And let's go, guys. We literally have 90 seconds, all right? So let's do this quietly. Hi, wing it. Let's go. Get up. No, you are. Come on, let's go. Hi. That's the whole point. Let's go practice. Go. Go.
Gentlemen, no talking.
Quiet, please. Quick.
Hello, everybody.
30 seconds. Let's go.
Now, our country today faces with a bewildering array of any threats and opportunities. As president, I will safeguard America and secure our country's interests and most cherished ideals. The unifying thread of my national security strategy is American strength. When America is strong, the world is safer. Now, my foreign policy is that with clarity and resolve, our friends and allies will not have doubts about where we stand and where we will do to safeguard our interests and theirs. Neither will our rivals, competitors, and adversaries. The best ally the world peace has ever known is a strong America. The last best hope of earth was what Abraham Lincoln called our country. Now, I believe in fulfilling the promise of Lincoln's words and will defend America with abroad and in the world and in deed. Good.
Go ahead.
I was.
Let's go. How many?
I don't remember.
That way. Go ahead. Come on, guys. Guys.
Can you really trust him?
Don't ruin it. Really.
He's the same person who's flip-flopped on every issue in the book. On abortion, He says he's anti-abortion as governor. As a candidate, he says he's
Anti-abortion as governor, he said he's
pro-abortion. He said he's pro-abortion. Now he says he's anti-abortion. On the auto bailout that saved millions of American jobs, he was against the auto bailout. He said let them go bankrupt. No. With my auto bailout, they did not go bankrupt. I saved millions of American jobs. You ask the CEO of Chrysler, who defended my position the other day. The United States does not need another arrogant administration that goes around telling countries what to do and how to do it. That's not how we gain respect. If we want to gain the upper hand in foreign policy, we need to take the advice of Teddy Roosevelt, who said, "Speak softly and carry a big stick," which means to engage in diplomacy, but also have the military backbone to back it up.
Okay, very good. We have like 30 seconds. Let's quiet it down for a second. Okay. First thing I want to tell you, just very quickly, you have to give them a lot of credit, especially those that did more of the talking, looking at you as opposed to reading. But it's still very hard. I give them a lot of credit, all of them. And it is hard. I especially want to give Chaim and Mr. Hamway credit for coming out and really doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, Mike.
I want to hand it over to Ms. Knox.
I just want to give thanks individually to each debater who took the time to prepare to stand here with you guys today. It's not an easy thing to stand up and speak somewhat impromptu, somewhat prepared. So on the Obama side, we have Renee Cohen, Raquel Salem, Nisi Mastor, Albert Hamway, and Steve McKee. And on the Romney side, we have Laura Liazzi, Amy Udid, Herbie Rakesh, Aaron Harari, and Chaim Salama.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, please for 1 second. You go home tonight. You go home tonight. You sit around the dinner table and talk to your parents. They will be facing the issues that you just heard about. Tomorrow's vote. You can help them in the discussion on an informed decision to vote. I want to thank everybody for your wonderful participation.